How's it going, Ricardo?
Good, and you?
I'm doing good, doing good. Just working, doing my thing here in the Illinois area. What about yourself?
Oh, you're here too? I'm
Yeah.
in Chicago.
Oh, you're in Chicago? Yeah, I'm out in Algonquin by Crystal Lake.
Yeah,
About an hour west out here. Out here in the woods.
wonderful woods.
Yeah, like it out here. So first of all, yeah, I just want to say congrats on the new film, Last Matinee. Just checked it out, had a good time with it. Had a lot of feels like the 90s slasher films and things like that. But had a great time with it. Had some questions for you. First of all, how'd you get involved with this project?
I was contacted by the filmmaker who had seen, as he was growing up, some of the old movies that I made in the 80s and 90s. The movie actually takes place in 1993, and that was the year that I made a werewolf movie that was kind of famous in the area and in South America. And
Hmm.
that's why there's even a poster of that movie in one of the walls. That's almost like an internal thing. So he grew up, Maxi Contenti, watching horror movies from the time. And amongst those horror movies, it was the ones that I was making for TV over there. So 30 years later, or 25 years later, he contacts me and he has this project. And he says, when I read the script, I thought of you. I thought that you could be a good fit for the eye eater, for the come ojos. And I was delighted, of course. I mean, who doesn't want to be typecast as a serial killer? Everybody, right? So I
Everybody.
immediately jumped on it, and I said, yes, absolutely, you can count on me. And then after that, it was like 2 years, because sometimes it's complicated to put everything together and make an independent movie. But eventually, it happened, and
Mhm.
I flew to Uruguay, my country, and I spent there 2 weeks that I will never forget, just chasing people with a knife.
And it turned out pretty well from what I could see. It looked like a fun movie to film, especially in the movie theater. What was it like playing a villain for you?
It wasn't the first time, to be honest with you. I've been
Yeah.
playing villain for a while. With this face, there isn't much to choose. But it was great because the team was awesome, because the scope of the production was big. For South America, to have this type of movies is something rare. It doesn't happen quite often. And when it happens, it's on a micro budget level. This was not micro budget. This was, just a regular movie. So all the elements were there to have a wonderful experience. And playing the bad guy is always, in any movie, it's a way to win all the way to the end. And then at the end, you lose. But yeah, you couldn't ask for more when it comes to having fun.
Did you have any or watch any movies for like inspiration or any other like slasher icons that you looked up to before filming this? Like Freddy Krueger or any of those characters?
If I had to tell you something that I took as an inspiration, I should go much further back. And the inspiration that I used to create this character comes from Lon Chaney Sr., not Jr. And especially one movie that he made that is lost, and we only see pictures, which is London After Midnight.
Yes.
And he for that movie, when he was a master of makeup and creepy
Yeah.
faces and everything, he was a very physical actor because of the silent era. So he would use, and I'm sure you know this because you're a horror fan, he would use pieces of wire inside his eyes to keep them really creepy open. And even when I didn't do that here, they didn't let me. I would just sink my eyes inside my eyelids like this, to keep them very wide open for the shots. You cannot maintain that expression for more than a shot. If it was a theater play, I wouldn't be able to do that. But for the theater, I did. So that was really my inspiration. It wasn't so much the character, but what really was inspiring was the techniques by Lon Chaney.
Wow, that's fantastic. You don't hear too many people talking about that anymore, but it's a film, obviously, like most horror fans have wanted to see, but it's lost. And probably one of the greatest makeup performances of all time, for
Absolutely.
sure. Yeah, absolutely. So that's cool. That's really good to know. So you kind of did have an overall idea how you wanted to play this character, or was it more like collaborative with the director, like you need to do it this way?
It was the action. The action was in the script, and the
Yeah.
action drove the attitude. We didn't really have a lot of back and forth, I would say almost at all, with Maxi, with the director, about this character. I think it's because of what I told you before, that he saw me in it from the moment he read the script. Even when they showed me the project for the first time, the storyboards, my face was drawn into the storyboards. I think everything fit in place. If anything, we had some, discussions about should the killer, the eye eater, be dead serious all the time? Should he smile? Should he snark? Should he, do some sounds or anything? And even with that, he gave me a lot of creativity and freedom. So sometimes, and I noticed they used it, which was interesting. And I don't think I have talked to anyone about this, but sometimes when I was there just waiting for action, I was just mumbling something very low. But because now everybody has microphones all over, I was going like, it was like a whisper, something like a, and what it meant really was like, kill them, kill them, kill them, or in Spanish, mátalos, mátalos, mátalos. And there's a moment when I'm about to chase the kid, the little kid, Franco, when I can hear that. I think they they somehow rescued that from the soundtrack and they used it. But it was really, he was very, very welcoming to anything new. And I had a lot of fun just making it up as I go.
Yeah, I loved it. You said this is filmed in South America?
Yes, this was shot in Uruguay, which is the director's country and my country. That's where I grew up.
Oh, okay. Cool. So that where they filmed it, that was an actual old movie theater?
Yes. Unfortunately, right after we finished, they demolished it, or they turned it down to turn into some kind of shopping mall or something. There aren't many of those anymore. Here in Chicago, we have a couple that are still, standing. Yeah, that was a real movie theater. Although what you see on the staircase where all the final scenes happen, that's one theater. And then the interior of the actual room, of the room where you watch the movies, that's a different theater. It's a combination of both locations in one. So the theater opera, as it shows in the movie, does exist, and it's still there. The other one, the big one that at some point becomes all red with blood and everything, that one is gone now. The theater is the character. Actually, if you talk to the director, he will tell you that I don't know, you probably know the story that Hitchcock commissioned to write Vertigo because he wanted to make a movie about San Francisco. Okay, well, what happened here is that Maxi was doing, I think, a commercial or some kind of institutional video inside that theater. And when he was there just doing his job, he said, wait a minute, there's a horror movie here. And then the movie happened.
The reason I ask is you don't see a lot of those kind of movie theaters anymore. Those are the ones I grew up going to, in the 90s. The big balcony and the seats that flipped up and down. And today it's all like IMAX and you got the reclining seats, and like people don't know what it's like back then. It was more of an experience,
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like being there in the dark with the movie,
It was all part of the atmosphere, you know what I mean? And it really makes the movie theater more authentic, I guess. And that's what I loved about this movie. It felt like I was going back in time, watching movies as a kid, and what I really appreciated about it.
It's a trip. It really is a trip.
With the pandemic, do you go to movie theaters in Chicago, or do you watch everything from home mostly, like streaming?
Like most everybody else, even my own movie, I had to watch it at home. I mean, I haven't been able to see this movie yet on a theater, which I understand is a pretty cool experience because you feel like you're a continuation of the fiction, or the fiction is a continuation of reality. For me, it was my living room with my wife and my daughter. But anyway, yeah. No, I know. Yeah. I haven't been in a theater in a very long time.
I've been to one movie in the past year and a half, and it's been killing me because that's what I do. I go to the movie theater, watch films, and it's tough. You don't have the same experience sitting at home. You know what I mean?
No, it's not the same.
It kind of sucks. I'm just hoping we get past this so we can go back to that experience, enjoying films in the theater again.
Yeah, that makes a bunch of us.
Yeah. I'm just tired of all this, like everybody else. But I was curious if you been in the theater lately. What was it like working with the director and the cast in this film?
Well, the director, like I was saying, he gave me and the other actors too a lot of freedom, of creative freedom, which is always nice. There are some directors that are more like, you have to do exactly as I say. And the team was a dream team. It was a lot of young people. I was probably one of the older ones. And it was, everybody was very, as it happens usually in independent movies, especially if the independent movie is happening in an environment where you normally don't see this kind of movies made. Everybody was extremely enthusiastic and extremely into the project. So that's why maybe you can, maybe you can't. I think you probably can see that on a screen. It shows on a screen. There's a devotion to it, and the crew, and also on the cast, that shows on the final product. I mean, even when it is a horror movie and there's a lot of gore and people dying and all the good stuff, it was a work of love. It really was. Love for film, love for filmmaking, love for all movies, and it shows.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, just the love of and passion for the movie industry and making a movie, the whole process behind it, which I absolutely love. Speaking of gore and death in this movie, what was it like working with all the blood and practical effects?
It helped a lot, because when you are acting to a green screen, and when you know that at some point there will be blood there, digital or whatever, it's very different than when you are pulling an eye out of your socket and knife in the eye, and you have tubes inside your wardrobe pumping blood all the time. That's a completely different experience. I mean, that really helped me and the other actors to perform and to be credible in what we were doing.
Yeah, that's all part of the movie magic too. Standing in front of a green screen, it doesn't have that same effect as being buckets of blood poured on you, or your eyeball popping out or whatever. Which was one of my favorite parts of the movie, by the way, without giving too much away.
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
eyeball.
Yeah, I agree.
Said, what was your favorite scene to shoot in the movie?
I would say it was, but see, we can't give too much away, like you said. But let's say there's a final confrontation with the three main protagonists when they are, secluded in a place, and I just bump in, and I just break in and bump into them. That was that final confrontation that took a minute to make it happen. And it was shot in a very special way, because it's the point of view of the good guys. So I was acting for the crew, not for the actors. That was my favorite scene, because they respected the crew respected our work. They realized it was the last day. They realized that a lot was depending on that scene. So they gave us our space. They took their time. It was very late, after 12 hours. That's okay. And we went to it. And when we were shooting that scene, that particular scene, you hear thunders, and you see like a flash, like a thunder. And that was actually we were like in the third floor. That was actually one of those flash cameras, traffic cameras. We didn't have the technology to have outside on the third floor like a crane with lights flashing in. It just happened, and it happened at the precise moment when I'm making one of my faces, and it's like sometimes movie magic turns into real magic for a moment. It's like everything coincides. That was one of those times.
Wow, that's amazing. And beauty of making a movie, especially the third act of the film, is probably my favorite, without giving too much away. And I thought you did a really great job towards the end of the film. A few other questions I have to wrap it up here. Do you have any upcoming projects that we should be on the lookout for? Any upcoming movies?
Yeah, in 3 weeks, on Labor Day weekend, I start shooting a vampire movie titled Night Hunt, where I play a vampire, which is like a third part for 2 movies that I made back in the 80s. Wow. So 30 years later, I decided to do a third part, and that's what I'm working on. We have everything in place. We start shooting in 3 weeks, and we're gonna finish shooting the first weekend of October. And we should have a new movie by the first month of next year.
Wow, that's exciting. Can't wait for that. Are you going to be filming that in Chicago, or?
Yes. We're filming almost everything in Chicago, some suburbs. Yep.
Wow, excellent. Can't wait for that. That'll be exciting to check that out. I love vampire flicks. Another question I have, where can we find it on social media? Twitter, Facebook, Instagram?
Yeah, I have Facebook under my name. So if you just type Ricardo Islas, you'll find me right away. I also have Instagram on the same name. And I have a YouTube channel with like 30 million views that I've had for many years. Most of my movies are there. It's called New Alpha Studios. Alpha Studios is my company. The channel is New Alpha Studios. Or my name on YouTube when I come up, most likely.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll check out and subscribe for sure, and check out your videos on there. Yeah, I had a really great time with this film. Loved your performance in this, being a villain. It was really great. A little throwback to the 90s. And I can't wait for everybody to see this film and enjoy it as much as we did. So it's been an honor and pleasure to talk to you today about this film.
Thank you, Logan.
It was nice talking to you. Have a good rest of your day.
You too.